What? I freaking love men. What do you want me to do? Lie? Jeez Louise. Love NakeyJakey.
Yeah, whatever. New York City is one of the most populated places on planet.
How the hell is he filming here? Look at everyone's like, what the hell is this kid doing?
Earth. Times Square, Central Park, or Zaza City. Oh, sorry.
Zaza
You can immediately
City.
clock it and say, boom, okay, that's New York. We are in New York right now. Oh, this is such a random New York moment. Oh my God. It's impossible to count how many pieces of media take place in the biggest Apple, let alone just video games. But one game, one very special game that I still think about a lot, a game that had a big city impact on my delicate small town frame, is Grand Theft Auto 4. I'm one of the many insane people that actively choose to live in this giant rat hole of a city.
He lives in New York. That takes balls, I'm not gonna lie.
And GTA 4 is a big reason for that. I am obsessed with the scope and detail of the architecture, the super dramatic lighting, the Blista compact, the psychotic physics engine. And the craziest part, actual New York feels a lot like that. Well, not the physics engine part, but how did Rockstar do that? How did they condense the atmosphere of this massive city onto a single Xbox 360 DVD while still having it possess that intangible, how you say, je ne sais quoi? That's not even GTA 4, that's Halo 5. That singular question defines what I love the most about Rockstar games. And I think it's why I keep making like a billion videos about them. Rockstar's game design is outdated, might forever be the most viewed thing on my channel, and I am very okay with that. I'm really proud of that video, and I stand by just about everything I brought up, including but not limited to the busted ass wanted system and a series of incredibly linear missions that treat you like a child with no brain or functioning thumbs. But
I am not a child. I love Red Dead Redemption. You shut your ass up. Shut your bitch ass up.
At the same time, Red Dead 2 has been squatting in my abandoned mine cottage for the better part of the past 6 years. And I think it's because I also stand by other things I said. Like how this game has some of the best writing of any piece of fiction I've ever consumed, and that it looks and sounds like God. Much like how GTA 4 captures the distinct feeling of being in New York, Red Dead 2 captures je ne sais quoi for the American wilderness that I personally know, while also capturing something so beyond what I could ever know. That push and pull of loving something so much, yet being so frustrated by it. This game had to be more than just a busted wanted system or thumbless child simulator, right?
I'll agree, I did have a lot of problems with the wanted system. It was so annoying sometimes. I bugged out the game and I had to load a save file from like 3 hours ago. God, because I kept bugging out in a certain town and the butcher kept coming after me and I couldn't reset him. It was so annoying.
Blu-ray discs are big as...
That's a pretty tree. I can fix him.
Okay, Red Dead Redemption 2 remains the most beautiful game I have ever seen, and that surprised no one. Everything about the art design is straight up surgical. The insane level of detail that grazes every millimeter of this colossal map.
The sound design is insane on this game too.
The precise historical authenticity that touches even the dinkiest of objects. The romanticized dreamy realism that somehow drenches everything in the most beautiful lighting at all times. It has and will continue to blow my back out. Watching a long ass GDC talk about how much work went into just the horses, the horse animations alone.
Making the believable horses of Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, horse balls, yes, that's what everyone memes on.
Had me like 2 more videos about horses from becoming a horse girl. But oh my God, playing on PC made me never want to look at a PS4 again. Get out of my room, Sony Pony! This game doesn't only somehow look even better, but it feels way better too. There's still a considerable amount of input delay when doing anything just because that's how Rockstar intended. Like you're puppeteering a hefty bag of flesh and bones versus...
I never liked it, but I learned to deal with it. I still don't understand why he feels like that. Like, it's playing the game like that.
They consulted the expert Vosh for more realistic horse balls.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet he would know a lot about that. You're right. Horse balls.
Flicking around a super responsive super soldier, but a high frame rate helps a lot to make just about every interaction feel smoother. Side note, the fact that they still haven't released any sort of next gen update for PS5 that does like 4K 60, even after they've already re-released GTA 5, and the same thing, is a straight up felony.
True.
Hi, I'm Jakey, and Jakey, attorneys at law. Thanks to Opera GX for sponsoring this video. The internet will likely lead to the end of all humanity, but that doesn't mean our browsers have to be boring in the meantime. Opera GX is a web browser built for gamers that is not boring. You will be entertained, Duncan. Opera GX has mods, cleverly titled GX mods, that can make your browser do all sorts of wacky, fun stuff. In the GX store, you can find all sorts of mods, including the NakeyJakey one, in case you give a shit about that guy. The mod has its own background music, its own keyboard sounds, its own opening and closing of tab sounds, its
that
own
would annoy me so fast, the keyboard
its own
sounds.
dedicated wallpaper. You can also disable and enable
Can you have moaning as your keystrokes? I bet you can.
individual mods in the mods menu located on the sidebar. I love video games. Quite frankly, I can't get enough of the goddamn fuckers. The GX Corner helps me stay up to date with all things gaming. Talking about free games, talking about gaming deals, talking about new releases, talking about hot fresh gaming right off the press. Oh, god damn it, that burned me bad. Look at this deal. Actually, no. Look at this deal. Actually, no. Look at this one, Duncan. Opera GX also comes with a quick import tool that lets you haul all your crap from your previous browser, like browsing history, bookmarks, and cookies, over to Opera GX. It's also compatible with every Google Chrome extension. Thanks to Opera GX for sponsoring this video, and use my link down below to download Opera GX today. Every day I stray further and further from the path of righteousness. I haven't seen my family in 7. Anyways,
Excuse me, what?
I think he was saying something. Now, because this is on PC now, and I've already played this game a ton, my devious white ass was immediately like, okay, is there a mod to skip the longest intro screen known to man, because booting this game up takes forever? And then I saw it. I saw the massive list of other mods available.
Wait, there is a skip. Oh my god, there's a mod that skips that shit. I hate having to sit through that every time. Sometimes my game would crash for no reason. I have to sit through that opening over and over. It was so lame.
Much like a very gaslit romantic partner, I softly whispered to myself, I can fix him. I knew I wouldn't ever be able to change how restrictive and boring so many of the game's linear missions were. That shit was set in stone. But what if I could address all of the other issues I had outside of the missions? And this is when mommy went off the deep end. Loot everything fast as shit. Buy a house, rob a bank, spin your gun, crazy hair, crazy ragdolls, dog companion. After installing so many different mods to try and fix the inconsistently broken wanted system, mods to fix how busted the in-game economy is, mods that let me fight the annoying ass kids in Saint Denis, I stopped myself.
Yeah, you can't beat up the kids in the game. It's cringe. The ones that steal your wallet in Saint Denis, yeah, you can't beat them up, even though you should.
I was doing too much. I realized that if the purpose of this experiment was to revisit and reevaluate a piece of art, I should probably try to keep it in its originally intended pure vanilla state, right? Totally, yes, yes. But also maybe I keep a few of them? Okay, so Arthur has 3 speeds, right? Walking, running by holding A, and full mashing A sprinting. There's no middle ground between crawling and blasting off, so navigating tight spaces always annoyed the piss out of me. But let me also just say—
Or you knock someone over and you start getting, like, flagged by the police. It's so annoying.
This, perchance. There is already an in-between speed that exists in the game, but only when you're fast walking around camp. Fast walking outside of camp lets you use that brisk walk anywhere you want. I know this may not sound like that big of a deal, but oh my god, if you have played the game as much as I have, you know—
Can't be compared to any other game experience. No, I know, but I'm just saying, if you like, you know, if you like horses, you probably like this game. It's pretty chill, dude. There's cooking, there's taking care of yourself, other stuff, yeah. Brushing your horse. More like a playable movie? Yeah, I would say that's pretty good too. It's a pretty good annotation. Yeah. Vosh game confirmed? Yes, absolutely. I think Vosh loves this game. Anyway, let's keep going.
Felt so much easier to puppeteer once I had the option to move just a bit more urgently. Moving around combat arenas and not having to either slowly walk or sloppily sprint in between cover. Even leading
really
your
nice.
horse around feels so much better, and I did it way more now that I didn't have to tiptoe through the window. Shout out to Corva for making this mod. It caused like 0 issues with my
Fast
playthrough,
walking
and it's
outside
actually incredible
camp.
on controller. You could still do the slow walk, you just half press. On mouse and keyboard, you can use the push to talk button to toggle between the 2 walks. You guys are gamers, you'll figure it out. Okay, so in general,
I
this
am
game
not a
heavily
gamer, right,
leans
chat?
into a more grounded vibe with all of its realistic animations, right? Cooking a steak one by one, opening a cabinet drawer by drawer, slowly skinning an animal with an unskippable animation, and then slow walking its massive pelt to your horse. It's very clear that Rockstar really wants you to slow down and truly feel
Immerse
like you're
yourself.
living in Arthur's custom-crafted immersive moccasin 350s. But a big thing I complained about before is that when it comes to other things like the weather or your portable camp, the game just goes, realism frosts my ass. I hate her. I don't fucking know her. 90% of the time, it doesn't really matter what clothes you're wearing unless you go up into the snowy mountain section part of the map.
True.
You can essentially go the majority of the game wearing the same outfit, whether it's 90 degrees in the swampy south or 45 degrees in the Dakota, south. I remember this felt like such a missed opportunity because the outfit crafting in this game is actually immaculate.
No, it is. And you go around hunting legendary animals too. It's really cool.
And you can pair layers with other layers to achieve, in theory, varying layers of warmth. But again, the vanilla game doesn't really do much with any of this. Humidity and temperature overhaul by Bullman 70 fixes all of that. The middle symbol on this new core changes color when you're not optimally dressed for the current weather, and if you're not optimally dressed, it will slowly start to drain your health and stamina cores. This could mean needing more layers of warmth in the chilly woods versus wearing less layers in the soupy swamp. The outside ring is your current resistance to any harsh weather, so putting on a hat to shield yourself from beaming sunlight or hard rain strengthens the ring. Regardless of what you're wearing though, if you get caught in a storm, your clothes are going to get wet and that ring is going to drain no matter what. But going into a warm interior to find shelter or standing near any sort of heat source actively changes your temperature and heats your ring back up. This mod automatically turns off during missions so that it doesn't cause any problems too, which is great. But in the open world, it feels like such a natural, immersive addition to the existing realism formula that Rockstar was already going with that I seriously can't imagine playing the game without it now. Watching a storm from inside your tent feels way more cozy and grounded and immersive when
that is so cool. I love cozy shit like this, even if it slows down the game a little bit.
rain actually has an effect on the player. And speaking of camping, I hated how the vanilla camp system worked back in 2018, and it still frosts my ass. I hated how it automatically teleported you to a predestined location. I hated how the rain did not affect your ability to make a fire. I hated how sensitive the perimeters were of when and where you could spawn your magic teleporting camp. The Camp Anywhere mod does not fix all of these issues, but it certainly validates a lot of my complaints and desires. It's exactly what it sounds like, a custom menu that lets you spawn either your whole camp or individual elements of a camp wherever you want. Oh, you found the most gorgeous view and you want to put your tent in that exact spot?
Dude, that is so nice. I always hated it that it teleported you away. Yeah, I first found out, I was like, dude, this is so lame.
Oh shit, Arthur. Oh, you want to build a fire right by a frozen lake while you're fishing so that you can immediately cook any giant fishies that you catch without having to teleport away to an entire camp just to cook them, and also standing next to the fire is in perfect synergy with the weather mod I was just talking about. What the hell? This is the best day of my life! I think you get why I love this mod so much. Camp Anywhere makes exploring this fucking beautiful, majestic world just a tad more engaging because it's one more choice that the player gets to make for themselves. A choice capable of creating magical, emergent moments that feel so much more personal. Hitching your horse to any tree is a feature that is already in the game, so picking a specific spot to settle down with your precious boy or girl feels supernatural. But again, this mod is not perfect, dude. Camp Anywhere really said camp anywhere, for better or worse.
Hey, this is my genuine reaction.
You're camping in the... Wait, there's a guy in his tent! What the frick? Look! There's an NPC in his tent.
No,
What an
guys
asshole.
would actually get into your tent. That's incredible.
I can see how Rockstar landed on the solution they did of having pre-selected places for the player to set up their camp to avoid shenanigans like this. But I still think a middle ground definitely could have been achieved, at least like letting you manually place down a fire or a bedroll in way more places. I'm not saying you even gotta chop wood or anything to make a fire, even though that's already kind of in the game too. JK, LOL, I'm sorry. But am I sorry? Sadly, the campfires built using this mod can't ever have the grill attachment that you can get that lets you cook like the oregano special meat. And it doesn't let you fast travel like the vanilla portable camp does now if you upgrade to have fast travel at the main game's camp, which that was not in the game originally and is an amazing addition. And also it makes—
Wait, they didn't have that in the original.
upgrading the gang's camp actually matter a bit more now, because before, if you upgraded it and you got fast travel, it's like, cool, I can fast travel from the camp, but you're still having to go back there all the time. If you played the game, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
But shout out to Cross99 for making this mod. If you see this and you could pretty please somehow add the grill and the fast travel function to this mod, I'll name my firstborn Cross99 and it'll pick and roll my ass and cross me up and break my cankles. You may have noticed that I'm wearing a lot of stuff that says Ball Creative or Ball, or has, you know, some bullshit on the back or something. That's because it's my new company that I started. It's basically the creative umbrella for all future creative projects, whether that's—
Why would you name it Ball Creative, man? Ball? Really?
music or videos or merch or eventually, and not anytime soon, don't get your hopes up, but video games, if you're interested.
Balls. Why is he squatting like that?
Okay,
Why
real quick, one more mod is Selling Guns by Bullman70. Jesus Christ, this guy is really crushing the mod game. Rockstar updated the game to have a weapon locker at the main camp, which is amazing,
this is
because
awesome.
now you can finally organize the billions of guns. But Arthur can sometimes still pick up guns that you can't then put into the weapon locker, so they just get stuck in your inventory, and it's annoying as shit. With the mod, you can go up to this guy and sell whatever guns you want and just get them out of your inventory, and it's amazing. Okay, mods, we get it, bro. You're a Discord kitten manager. Get on with it. Clearly, these mods were a very important part of my return trip and improved my experience by base boosting mechanics that were already in the game. But really, they were the catalyst to truly enjoy and savor all of the things that the game has already possessed since—
Is he gonna talk about that mod that includes like a Desert New Mexico like add-on thing that's like a DLC, but it's not?
2018. What it started as I can fix him eventually turned into he can fix me.
Well, I love you all. I
played the ever-living shit out of this game back when it dropped in 2018, just like everyone else did, and even with all of the complaints that I had that, you know, I ended up making that video about, I still had a pretty good time. But admittedly, I think my frustration with the extremely linear missions and overshadowed a lot of that joy to be found. Because good God, the second time around, Arthur's tail hit me harder than a fully loaded F-250 extended cab. I think the simplest way to distill my change in perspective is that this game doesn't really want you to think, but it really wants you to feel. 95% of the mission objectives could not be more mindless and handholdy even if they tried. And honestly, I get it. This $400 million-ish game was not made just specifically for me. And that's fine. This game was made to be as accessible as possible to the largest audience as possible so that it could sell 1 billion trillion copies.
Yeah, unfortunately, we gamers, us real gamers, have to suffer from the hand-holding because of these schlumps.
As possible. This isn't Hitman or Dark Souls. Bro, Joe Rogan knows what this game is. You think he gives a fuck about non-linearity and ludonarrative dissonance? Like, unless He's
not a gamer. He doesn't know how to play video games.
Arthur Morgan suddenly knows jujitsu, I highly fucking doubt it. When I stopped looking at this game as a series of flawed systems and more as just an opportunity to truly play pretend as Arthur Morgan, something magical happened. I camped behind a waterfall while sipping coffee. I studied every animal and hunted for perfect pelts. I tailored and crafted outfits for every kind of temperature. I obsessed over Arthur's beautiful handwriting and sketches by the light of my campfire because good God, the journal is so fucking cool. It's one of—
Personally, I couldn't get into RDR2 because of how slow and linear the story missions were. Sag.
Really? That's a shame. I could overlook it because I just felt really immersed in the world. I don't know, maybe I'm just weird. I don't mind it. Like, the second or third playthrough, I would get bored, but, like, first playthrough is awesome.
Rockstar has ever done. The way Arthur recaps certain events using his unique perspective is a genius addition and a heartbreaking portal into this man's troubled soul. I led my horse through town greeting everyone I saw, but also sometimes doing greet, and then antagonize because it is so goddamn funny. Honestly, I was pretty off base with my comparison to New Vegas or other RPGs with the greet antagonize system because that fully undersold just how
I've been watching Vebe play Fallout. Oh my lord. She's been playing New Vegas. I want to play it so bad for some reason. I played the game to death and I still want to play it again.
entertaining and immersive it can be.
Howdy.
Howdy. Howdy.
That's a fine horse you got there.
Give it to me.
How long you been married?
Now you best shut your big bazoo.
I made deliberate choices in combat to create the most cinematic
Shut your big bazoo, you dumb bitch. Watch your mouth.
moments I could. And man, I did not give the combat its due respect the first time around because with just a little work, this shit can actually be so goddamn fun. Turn off the lock-on and aim assist to make managing your dead eye actually matter, and the combat is more akin to Max Payne 3 than anything else.
A game that I have never played and don't even like at all. So, take that. Then rewind it back. Power to the players got the power to make your booty go crack.
Also, last mod I'm going to talk about, I promise this time, Ped Damage Overhauled is great if you're an expert gamer looking for an actual challenge.
Is it bad? I read that as peed, not ped. I read that as peed, man.
Enemies are no longer bullet sponges and die faster in more varied ways depending on the type of ammo that you use. But also you die way faster and it makes combat way more tense and resources like food and healing tonics actually matter now. But also story NPCs die way faster now too, so that kept happening and I had to like crank their health up in the I.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah. I used to have to do this with Fallout. When I would start modding Fallout, it would just like bug out and I have to go into the file and like adjust it. It's really annoying.
File expert fucking Geek Squad shit, but it definitely made combat more engaging if that sounds like a cup of tea. Knowing the exact fate of the Dutch Vanderlyn gang made me want to play this game with so much more intention. I engaged in as many camp conversations as I could, wanting to fully explore the depths of these layered characters and all of their intricate relationships. There are so many thoughtfully scripted interactions that I had just completely missed the first time around. With the departure of Rockstar co-founder and lead writer Dan Houser, I am definitely rooting for GTA 6 to still have the most interesting, well-written story that it possibly can. But if I was a betting man, I think Red Dead 2 will likely go down as Rockstar's opus when it comes to narrative. Because it's not even just the writing and performances of the main cast who all
I think the biggest thing that was really a shame is that Red Dead Online just was like thrown to the trash. I don't know why. Maybe it wasn't much of a cash cow. I think the reason was that someone said is that they couldn't cash cow it as much as GTA. Because GTA Online, it like milks people for their wallets so much. Whereas Red Dead Redemption just has horses and stuff. That's it. Sad.
knock it out of the park. But even random NPCs and strangers will have conversations with Arthur that will just completely rip your heart out. I started treating the missions in this game as more of a great TV show that I want to binge versus some super stimulating gameplay experience. I'm never gonna stop wishing that the outdated and severely restrictive mission design was way more interesting, but that also doesn't mean that they're all necessarily bad to experience. Largely because of the goddamn soundtrack. This goddamn soundtrack. I wish
I have the soundtrack on my list. Yeah, I like listening to it sometimes.
I could use it in this video without getting copyright claimed. I know I mentioned how good it is back in 2018, at least a little bit, but dude, it is not just good, it is like consistently perfect. The way the game starts incorporating themes from the first game during the epilogue with John will make a grown man spit up like a baby in the Nashville, Tennessee rain. And that's one of the most impressive things about this game is how it not only makes the story of the first Red Dead hit that much harder like a fully loaded extended cab F-250, but simultaneously kind of blows it out of the water. I remember when the second trailer for Red Dead 2 dropped, and so many people, myself included, were like, who's this square jaw gruff motherfucker eating soup? I want to play as John. Where's John? We want John. We want John. We want John. Dude, like in a trolley problem type beat, John is so dead before the train. I'll shoot him before the train even comes. Like, there's not even a conversation to be had. And
way
I
better.
love John. I love his story in Red Dead 1. I love his performance. I love his character growth in Red Dead 2. But Arthur is just simply that compelling. I know I had said before that he's my favorite protagonist in any Rockstar game, but dude, no, he's my favorite protagonist in any video game, period. Just
dude, a young NakeyJakey, that's wild. Look how young he looks.
Ever. Other than the fucking
kind of looks like a young soda pop.
Bird in Angry Bird. Not to say that everything is perfectly consistent as far as video game narratives go. The ludonarrative dissonance can sometimes be a little strong with this game. Not as bad as something like The Last of Us Part 2, because come on, you're a gang of outlaws. Of course you do awful shit like kill people.
Duh.
But you spend so much of your final moments just absolutely mowing down with like literally one of the missions with a Gatling gun. Largely innocent army men and policemen. And then the heartfelt music montage is like, you're a good man, Arthur. And it's like, what if this guy had tuberculosis? What if this guy had a wife and kids? Obviously, I'm...
This guy's mom died of like cancer at an early age. You saved them? Yeah, clearly. They could have died of like chlamydia or something.
Mostly kidding. But they could have a little touch of the
it's the Star Wars effect. You don't really think about it. You just kind of do it.
TV. I bring that up only because for so much of the story, Arthur's redemption arc, especially when playing with high honor, is beautifully done and does not shy away from the fact that he is a killer. The amount of things that change depending on your honor level was, however, really surprising to uncover. I still think how the honor system works is kind of dumb and gamey as hell. Like, you can murder entire towns, but then just grind greeting every single person for a while to get your honor back up, which makes total sense that saying hi to someone will redeem your sin of train tracking his neighbor. The broad strokes of the story remain the same regardless of your honor level. But it's the little dialogue changes and special encounters and subtle differences in things like the Deadeye sound effect that actually really surprised me.
Wait, there's a Deadeye sound effect that changes depending on your honor? Wait, I did not know that! That's sick!
Nothing you do as the player is ever going to alter the fate of our doomed protagonist. But
That's
having
so
your actions
cool.
as the player give a different context to important moments. For example, during the epilogue when John, Sadie, and Charles choose to go after Micah, if you had high honor with Arthur, Charles says this.
We owe this to Arthur.
You think Arthur cared about revenge? I'm not so sure, especially not at the end.
He cared about stopping Micah, and that's what we're doing.
And if you had low honor with Arthur, Charles says this.
We owe this to Arthur.
Revenge. That might be something he could have understood.
This ain't just revenge. It's about stopping the man.
Noting that, hey, my
Damn.
Arthur truly thought that revenge was a fool's game and died honorably with a renewed perspective on life. And my Arthur might not agree with John's somewhat reckless choice to pursue revenge while endangering his family. Just do one thing or the other. Don't try to be two people at once. Jacksepticeye said that to me in an email. You could argue that if John didn't go with Sadie and Charles, then those two would probably die and that going with them was actually the honorable choice, but it is strongly implied in the credits that the events on the mountain with Dutch and Micah began a chain reaction that caused the events of Red Dead Redemption 1. The Pinkertons would probably find and use John regardless because, come on, he used his real name
God, the
to buy
story
a
is
house
so
like
freaking
5
good,
feet
man.
from Blackwater. But again, I think the implication that John's inability to truly shed his past and change, his stubborn reluctance to fully let go of that side of himself, it makes the stories of both games that much more accomplished and devastatingly tragic. John and Arthur are both extremely flawed anti-heroes that are honestly, quite frankly, pieces of shit. But like any well-written story, you can't help but care for them and the company they keep. Revisiting the gang's old camps years later and hearing the whispering memories that not only haunt John, but the player as well, is Rockstar at their peak.
Where is he? Where's my...
That's wild! took his song.
So just do one thing or another. Not be too
No,
big.
the voices! Arthur's voice! No!
That's all I'm saying. It ain't that simple. You know that as well as anyone.
In the end, both Arthur and John make a sacrifice for someone or
Bullshit.
something bigger than
Why?
themselves. In this
Lovers.
world, a world created by thousands of dedicated employees that also gave it everything they had, sacrificing,
Wow.
unfortunately.
Still less people than Diablo 4. Wait, how many people worked on Diablo 4? Wasn't it like 6,000 people? 4,000, 6,000, or 9,000? I forgot. Something ridiculous. 9,000! God. Classic D4 head. I'm sorry. I just see over 3,000 people worked on this game. It's like actually a good game, and then the 9,000 Diablo 4. It's like Diablo 4 is 3 times better than Red Dead Redemption 2. Oh my god. No, it's not! How dare you say that? How dare you sit in his spot?
By crunching a shit ton of hours, a world that painstakingly recreates half of the first
This is
game's
amazing.
entire map, only to be used for like 2 story missions, and it's just this insane bonus after you've
Yeah.
already had 60 hours worth of content. Much like how Rockstar's
That
vision of
blows
New
my
York
mind.
absolutely enraptured my gamer body, this dream world impressionist cowboy painting of America is one of my
So
absolute favorite places to inhabit. Red Dead 2 is an imperfect album made by my favorite band, the Chainsmokers. Not every track is a top 10 Britney Spears banger. Like, I definitely want to skip through a lot of them, especially the Wanted System track. But look at my Spotify Wrapped and what's my most listened album. Oh, look at that, it's Red Dead 2. That metaphor works in a couple different ways, because Red Dead 2 original score actually is on my Spotify Wrapped, perchance. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you liked it. Now I'm gonna try to not fall down this
NakeyJakey
hill.
have a lot in common. I love Red Dead. So good. Ball creative. Gosh darn it, you have to fucking plug your damn. What was that horse picture at the end? Was he a horse boy? Chat, check out NakeyJakey. Love that guy. Very funny, very humorous, very cool video. I think his wife. Oh, that's so cute. It was a girl? Oh, it must have been his wife or something. His sister? I don't know. Ah, what a good video. Red Dead Redemption is such a good game. It's made better with mods, but yeah. One of my favorite scenes with the music is when you're blasting at the bar and there's like the music playing like doom, 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 doom.